So, the reason for writing the book, and I'll get into that by reading several passages. If they get a little lengthy, someone just say, "Shut up, it's too much." And also, I do want you to buy the book, so I don't want to like reveal everything. But sort of to practice what I preach, just so that the reason for writing the book, I mean, it's no secret. It's sort of reconciling what I have done for a living with a belief structure I hold. And that is connected to the fact that, basic economics has always focused on creating demand. And in a society where everyone has a vote and it can be counted, uh, please, some people don't get angry at me, there's no need for an electoral college anymore. People can vote for themselves, and it's one vote, one man or one woman. And I think that's going to apply in every aspect of product development, advertising, marketing, etc. And it shows a huge shift. And beyond that, it challenges a lot of what has been considered marketing and advertising, sacred cow. And that is, brand values. Those of you in any aspect of marketing, advertising, product development, you read briefs all the time. What are the brand values? Well, brands have value, but human beings have values. And I think that results in brands that are perhaps artificially projected needs versus real needs. Because people too often look at what attributes their brands have and how they can best seduce the consumer rather than looking at the consumer in the face and seeing what they really need. And, the underlying premise and takeaway, if nothing else, is that creating demand is dead. Satisfying it better is the future, and the mechanism of satisfying it better is going to be enabled through some of the remarkable technologies that all of you many of you, all of you know about, and those are also revealed in depth throughout the book. In addition, to justify the amount, I collaborated with 5 of the world's leading, I call them cultural oracles. All people who are very respected in their fields in terms of predicting trends, observing culture, but each addressing a different aspect of that. And culled from all of their trends, this book is the first time ever, and each agency is attributed, that 5 huge, very respected trend houses have agreed to be together under one roof, as it were. And my role there was I looked at where they overlapped, and I figure if 5 of these experts overlap, chances are that what they predict has a higher probability of being true than if any single one of them did. So again, it underscores the collaborative theme that I've tried to create throughout the book, and it's why you're going to have such a diverse experience in terms of the categories of brands represented. And to make it even easier, because my point was not to create an academic book, but to provide one that people who actually work in the profession can use. The conclusion are 3 real brands that I predict will be successes that aren't quite reaching the awareness level they will achieve, and sort of as my way of predicting, rather than saying that purple is the new black, I'm taking something that's more relative to all of our worlds and saying that what this brand has in terms of connection to its consumer is a great likelihood of its becoming what I would term a living brand. Now, a lot of the words in the book and even the way it's constructed are also all emblematic of the theory. You can really start at the beginning of this book or the end or pick any chapter, and they're all designed to give you the option of choosing where you begin. I mean, it's sort of Japanese inspired because I do read books from the back because I'm really impatient and I want to know like how it ends. I know you're not supposed to do that, but I do. And so that's why, you know, for busy professionals, you can look at a chapter and you will hopefully get a lesson. And again, for those of you so inclined, the ending, while also being real case histories, very interesting. I mean, one is about Roxy and Bobby, you know, and the Ramones and Andy Hilfiger and Blondie and whatever. And then I have the Benedictine monks, you know, that have been a brand for 1,500 years. Then I have a brand of underwear that's co-branded with iPod for like musical underwear. And so I chose all three, not because they're necessarily going to become gargantuan brands, but because they go through a strict application evaluation of the recommendations in my book, and I've sort of given them a rating scale. So with that said, I wanted to give you a little bit of the why and how this all happened. And, you know, I can't mention every contributor by name, but they know how much I appreciate their efforts. And again, you know, saying that this is my book is partially true, but in fact, when you buy it, I hope you buy it, you'll find that it's not really my book. In fact, I hope eventually what it becomes is Culture's book, because that would be my best dream. And just so you know, the other thing that pleases me tremendously is that, yes, it's being picked up by marketing professionals, but laypersons who have a demonstrated interest in what marketing is and why what they see and how they're approached is done, because they're so savvy, it's also appealing to them. And looking to the libraries and or educational programs that have brought it into their curriculum, it's in marketing programs, it's in advertising programs, it's in the libraries of anthropology departments, you know, it's in design schools. And I wanted a book that no one could peg. In fact, I didn't want to say the word brands, other than the fact I figured it would never sell unless it said brands. But, you know, I mean, I wanted to call it, well, a few things. But anyway, I'm glad it ended up where it ended up, and I thank you all for being here. Again, I know your time is precious and that many of you will need to get to work. And one of the important things today is, like, unlike a lot of the books, and I'm not criticizing any, but this isn't academic. I've done what many of you do. I've been there. This isn't a way of self-promoting a company, because frankly, I work for like 6 companies, and I'm not promoting any single one of them. And in addition to that, frankly, I think it takes a more genuine approach. You know, there's a lot of talk, some people have conceded that consumers actually own brands. And I wonder if they've internalized that, because the approach to marketing continues to be one of seduction versus satisfaction. And as we all know, relationships built on seduction are awfully fun, but they seldom last. And what I'm about is creating lasting bonds between equals, in which participatory brand creation, advertising, everything related to our fields forces us to speculate less and know more, because ultimately that's what we need to know in order to predict the new brands of tomorrow, which seem to be an increasingly thing to pull off. So I'm going to be reading, and again, for time reasons, I'm going to be introducing my great friend and distinguished colleague, because part of your reward for today is going to be the first reveal of what I feel is truly the ultimate evolution of what has been referred to as branded entertainment. I mean, I know during the early days of the internet, if you didn't want to seem to be out of style or stupid, you always would reserve a portion of your money for online spending, but you didn't really know why, other than your boss would think you were dumb and uninformed unless you did. Uh, Believe me, I'm sure many of you have done that. And the reality is now, buzzwords have a life of their own, and branded entertainment, I guarantee you, you're going to get 30 presentations in the next few months that all use that word, yet few of them even know what it means. It's not just product placement. It's certainly not, you know, cheesy little, like, let's ruin the story by, making it fit this. It's about really making messages that have persuasive advertising capability, something relevant and something that complements versus intrudes on people's lives. Now, before I get in, and this isn't like a personal plug, but well, kind of, yeah, it is. But anyway, but beyond that, to perhaps add a little bit of credibility, I mean, many of you are my friends, but just to update you, like where I've been for the last year, there is the Networks Group of what used to be Turner Media, and it's now the Media Group, headed by a woman by the name of Wendy Garrow Johnson, who heads both the beauty fashion channels and also Healthy Living. I will soon, and actually this may become part of the second in a series of my new TV series called Living Brands. That it's a satellite network and will be coming to New York probably, I would say, in early spring, although negotiations there are still happening. I also work for a number of agencies around town. The freelance person, they include Project, they include Badger and Company, Jim Feldman Creative Direction. I also work with a French advertising agency called Brune on a number of cosmetic accounts. I also am the New York representative for Saint Degré, perhaps one of the most forward packaging companies in the world. And now I'm a senior script consultant on a movie, which is how I gained access to Jonathan today. And again, as I said, he's dessert because he's going to reveal to you a real opportunity and marketing strategy that really, because our minds think very much alike, and through whatever mechanisms, partially this book, we were brought together. So I'm going to focus largely on what, frankly, if you even hated my book, represents the fact that it's a huge bargain, in that I have this group of tremendously respected contributors, and it happens early on in the book, and you get access to some of their profound predictions, and then my interpretation of what that means relative to the environments in which most of us work.